In this week's Parsha, Parashat Tazria, we see many different laws of contamination. The bulk of the Parsha, of course, has to do with Tzarat, and the beginning of the Parsha starts off with a woman giving birth to a child, and the requisite laws that apply in order for her to become pure again. One of the things that's always interested me is why certain Parshiot are next to each other. There are many different explanations for certain stories or sets of laws being placed one after the other, and Parashat Tazria is no exception. One of my favorite commentaries on Tanakh is the Me'am Loez, written in Ladino by Rav Yaakov Kuli in 1730. It has been translated into many different languages, and of course Hebrew is one of them, and I find that the commentary is just very easy to read, and it's something that I encourage everyone to check out. But the Me'am Loez, he speaks about this exact point. Why is Parashat Tazria placed here? And he says the following: Lamala b'Parashat HaKodemet hodianu HaKatuv et hadinim hanogaim livheima chayav of v'hashratzim mihem hatorim u'mihem hatmeim. So we just finished talking about the Tuma and Tahara of touching various different animals. And now v'achshav b'Parashat Haba'ah modienu HaKatuv hadinim hanogaim la'adam b'chinat gufo k'fi sheniv'ayer. So we now move into Tuma on the human level. And so this transition, it's not just to say, oh, okay, Dvar Torah is over. We talked about the fact that there was Tuma on animals, and now we're talking about Tuma of humans. Gamarnu. No, there's actually a deeper meaning here. And the Me'am Loez continues and says the following: V'atam she'atorah hikdima dinei behema ledinei adam lefi sheken haya seder briatam. This was actually the way that we were created. Animals were created first. Shenivra adam acharei shekol behemot v'chayot nivru k'fi shenibar be'er Bereshit parsha vav v'atam haya k'dei she'adam yilmad lekach v'yinhag ba'aniyut rabba v'al yitga'eh. So what the Me'am Loez is trying to tell us here is that animals were created before man to teach us a lesson, that we need to be humble and not get too haughty, because we came after even animals. He continues to say, She'im yitga'eh, if he does get haughty, yomrulo, you say to him, afilu yatush shehu birya kala ki demotcha b'vriyat ha'olam. Even a mosquito, which is like a tiny insect, was created before you were. So it sort of puts us in our place. V'im hu Yehudi kasher, the Me'am Loez continues that if you are a good Jew, omrim lo shehu kadam levriyat hamlachim. So the way that we sort of console ourselves for being created after the animals is that we were created before the angels. So this is why the Parsha starts off with these laws of Tumat HaAdam, because, as the Me'am Loez said, Sheme'achar shekol hayitron sheyesh la'adam al be'ema hu adat v'hadibur v'lachein im zacha adam lishtamesh b'de'ah v'dibur l'limud haTorah v'inyanei hamitzvot hu kodem l'malachim. So the one thing that we have over animals is our dat, our ability to think, the hadibur, in our speech. If we are able to use our speech and thought and our actions, of course, to for the good and to do mitzvot, then we merit to be considered worthy of being created before the angels. However, aval imhu hishtamesh bahem ledibur lashon hara u'v'divarim b'telim harei habeima tova himenu. So if you use your thought and speech for bad things like lashon hara, which is, I think the Me'am Loez brings up on purpose, because tzarat, we see, is also one of the punishments you can get for lashon hara. But if you use your thought and speech for something bad like lashon hara or other things like that, then we are no better than the animals that preceded us in creation. So it's our thought and our speech that elevates us above animals. Our ability to use our faculties for different things the animals are unable to do, that makes us better than them. But they were created before us. So that was a reminder to us that those faculties that we have that separate us from them need to be used for the good. This is an incredible lesson for us in general in how we conduct our life. We have at our disposal so many things that Hashem gave us. And the question we have to always ask ourselves is, are we using our abilities for the good? Are we elevating ourselves? Are we giving kedusha to our lives? Or are we using these gifts that Hashem gave us for things that don't matter and therefore don't differentiate us enough from being such as animals. It's interesting then that the third pasuk of Parashat Tazria speaks about Brit Milah. After Hashem says, Ishaki Tazria, in pasuk Gimel it says, V'yom hashmini yimol b'sar or lato. On the 8th day, you shall circumcise the boy. The mitzvah of Brit Milah is something that also elevates us from other beings. The Sefer HaChinuch gives a reason for Brit Milah, as he is wont to do. And he explains that Brit Milah is a message from Hashem that we are physically and spiritually different from other people. When you get a Brit Milah, you are perfecting your body physically, and that should be a message to you that just as you were able to perfect your body physically through the effort of a Brit Milah, so too our spiritual perfection is only attained through effort. So it's very interesting that the Brit Milah is mentioned right here at the beginning of Parashat Tazria, given that we've already connected it the way that the Me'am Loez showed us. As the Rambam says, Brit Milah is also a sign for us to turn away from evil and to do good, right? So there's all of these messages sent by the Brit Milah that are intended to tell us that we need to lead a life of good deeds and good speech and perfecting ourselves spiritually, just as we have done physically. So when we connect Parashat Tazria to the Tuma of all the animals, and we mention our idea from the Me'am Loez that it is a message to us that we always need to use our thought and speech for the good so that we prove our differentiation from animals, how perfect is it that our Parsha starts off with the mitzvah that is a physical sign for us to differentiate ourselves from other nations of the world. All of these things serve as a message to us that our life is about attaining spiritual perfection, that we need to use the bodies that we were given by Hashem and the mind that we were given that is elevated above animals for the good. Because otherwise, we are no better than the animals that were created before us, and we are no different than the other nations of the world who do not circumcise their children. I just think that it's important in a Parsha that gives us a laundry list of ways to deal with Tuma and Tahara that we don't get lost in the minutia of these laws, and we take a second to realize why this Parsha is where it is. And if we internalize the message of the Me'am Loez and the Sefer HaChinuch and the Rambam, I do believe that we can elevate ourselves and achieve that spiritual perfection and prove our worth to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for listening.